Okay, after you jack up the vehicle and put it on stands, leave the other tire on, but take this one off, and then take that shroud off with the Phillips head screws, or looks like 10mm. But after you jack it up, the first thing you do is grab the vehicle, shake it, push it, do everything you can to try to get it to come off of the jack stands. That shouldn't require explanation. If you jack way over on that bell housing, that's right next to the other motor mounts. You want to crank up about until you see the motor lift about 1 inch. In other words, the distance that the bad motor mounts have sank the engine down. You want to crank up till you neutralize it to the position of what's going to be the new one. That's it for this. Okay, when you're under there, this is how it is on the engine. When you're under there, you just take the bolts out. This one went so fast, I couldn't believe it. But after the bolts are out, then this comes out like this, and then you take it out the bottom. It goes out the top, and then now when I put the new one in, I just go like that and put the bolts back in. This is the easiest of the mounts. Okay, now the new one, I filled these up with urethane window sealant. You don't gain that much. First of all, you're only filling the little rubber gaps. This thing here is still free to cut through into the rubber up and down, so you don't gain that much. Also, that stuff is expensive. It's impossible to work with. If you get it on your hands, the stains don't come off. But to pack them with urethane or anything is better than nothing. Anyway, you take the old one out through the top. This is the old one. And then you put it back in like that. And then you get that bolt started. This is free to pivot back and forth. But then when you go to slide it in between the brackets like that this fits in between, you go to slide it in, it goes clunk, clunk. You can't figure out why the hell won't it go in there? It's because on this flange there's two metal tabs that stick out on one side. The metal tabs are designed to rest here and here. So it's hitting those, this is hitting those tabs. And so you lower the jack till you can see your two holes that this is lower. And then it pops in, it flops in right into place. And then you raise your jack by hand underneath the car. The scissors jack, you should be able to just work it with your fingers. Okay, for the back driver's side motor mount, this part you'll be operating under here. If the vehicle falls, it could be fatal. If you got cinder blocks, extra jack, whatever, anything under there helps. Okay, now here's one for you. On this one motor mount, the only one, the center bolt that goes through the rubber, it's a nut. It's not a welded, captivated assembly. So you put a 14mm right there, or else that nut just spins. Now, why did they do that on one motor mount? Don't ask me. What, a payoff or something? When you're down under there, you see this and this. You see these three nuts, 1, 2. There's your third one. There's your third one. This and this. Well, I didn't know that these two were there. And so then the question is, well, can I do this, this, and then, and this center one through the rubber and drop everything out? That when you're under there, if you break these loose, all of them, break them all loose, including those three, and take the nuts off, everything just falls loose. But just so you know, that this whole mess just totally falls out into your face. Okay, from the outside of the vehicle, the one long bolt that goes in through the rubber. They have it from the other side where it jams against everything in the firewall. So what I did was, now you can't see it in the video, but what I did was I put the bolt in from the other way. That way you're working on the outside of the vehicle. You can move the jack up and down until you feel the bolt go limp, and then it goes right through the center part of the rubber part of the motor mount. Okay, it turns out for a lot of your work, you can't see it in Dan Shear's video, Sheeler or Dan Shear, but anyway, using the bear hug method, you actually will just be reaching in there. The motor mount is fully visible and the nut. So when you're under the vehicle, your face actually will be looking at blue sky, and you'll be reaching around here to the left and then working up to do the bolts with your right hand. Okay, a summation inside the house. I may put this clip first or last, I don't know. Anyway, the front one goes in there like that. It's easy to tears. Anybody could do it in, well, 20 minutes. You don't have to remove no linkage or nothing. You just go in and do the bolts. Put the other one in, done. That requires no comment. That's the front, the transmission. Okay, now this one is the one you have to undo the 4 bolts for the mounting bracket that bolts to the engine. Because these here mount to that bracket. And there's 2 nuts here and there's 2 over there. When you're doing them, you reach in with your left hand in a bear hug manner. It turns out you can reach right in, get to this, get to the other side, the whole works. Okay, now this is important, that you first stick this up there. Okay, this part goes in the slot, and these parts are hanging down. And then you put the bracket up, and then you wiggle these into the bracket. Okay, and you put like 1 nut on or 2 nuts, but you leave them loose. And then you attach the bracket. The bracket, it's okay to go ahead and tighten those down as hard as you want on the spot. But these here you leave loose, because you're going to have to get the center bolt through. And so